we good, good?
Mike Vivaldi did just log in. I don't
Okay.
think we're good
Oh,
until you see everyone's face.
that's what I thought. Sections 18 to 25. Notice is hereby given of the Peabody Conservation Commission. At this time, we can meet by remote pursuant to Governor Maura Healey's March 29, 2023 extension of the temporary provisions allowing remote meetings until March of 2025. And tonight, I'm thrilled to be inside. So, a good move, Maura. Meeting ID has been provided. It's posted on the website, and we're ready to go. Um, the people attending at the meeting right now are um, myself, Stuart Lazaris, Vice Chairman Michael Rizzo, Secretary Michael Vivaldi, Commissioner Amanda Green, Commissioner Jamie Harrup, and Commissioner Arthur Athis, Commissioner Bruce Comack, and Commissioner Brian Cassidy. Um, the first item up, there are some people who I think Brian and um, Jamie cannot vote on this. Is that right, Amanda? Lucia?
That is correct. In order for them to vote, we would need to re-advertise it and contact the butters again.
Okay. Um, First item is notice of intent. A continued public hearing and notice of intent submitted by Attorney John R. Kelty for Josephine Cook, the owner. Proposed work is the construction of a single-family house with associated utilities, grading, and driveway. The property is known as 29 Glendale Ave, aka 25 Glendale Ave, map 120, lot 27, Peabody, Mass. We started talking about this on March 8th of this year. Is Jack here? You are, Jack. Take it away.
Am I on?
You're on.
Yes, John Kelty, 40 Lowell Street, Peabody, Mass, appearing for Joe Cook. This matter, as your agenda indicates, has been on your agenda since, I think roughly 3/8/23. The meeting was first opened. We've been dealing with a number of zoning issues, zoning questions. Most recently, I was back to the Board of Appeals. And the Board of Appeals denied the reissuance of a permit. But as I've said in the past about my career, I'd rather be lucky than good. The governor, as part of House Bill 1500, the large housing and economic stimulus package, the governor signed a further extension, which would apply directly to all permits that were in place during a period, whether they were in place in during a tolling period of 1/1/23 to 1/1/25. This permit allegedly was expiring in October of 24. I've supplied a memorandum and a copy of the law to the building commissioner in order to determine whether or not, in order to justify or make my argument that my permit, which is the permit that subdivides this lot, is still in place. I'm of the opinion it is. The building commissioner, as of just before Thanksgiving, forwarded my memorandum on to the city solicitor. Mr. Khan has indicated to me, yes, he is aware of it, and he will render an opinion to the building commissioner. That has not yet happened. A little bit of history is that there was a 2003 variance granted, which stated that there should be no further subdivision. I became aware that this was an issue that was looming for the board, I thought, this Conservation Commission. Um, I submitted a memorandum justifying the action of uh, of the board when they first allowed this subdivision. Uh, I believe that the city solicitor, in the person of Elizabeth Lashway, issued an opinion. Her opinion, however, seemed to go to the issue of where uh, earlier granted variances are being amended. In her memorandum, which was issued in the spring, she said essentially, if you're going to amend, change, alter a variance, you need to hold a new public hearing. I believe that the issue that wanted to be raised was whether or not there was a question of transparency with respect to this particular case. In other words, when the board acted after the original prohibition of subdivision, which was issued in 2003, was the board aware of the earlier prohibition when they acted? I believe there are parties that hold the position, no, there was not appropriate transparency. That, in my personal opinion, um, that issue has never been presented to by either the Zoning Board of Appeals or by your commission or by the building department. And as such, I don't think an opinion has been rendered on that. My position this evening is that I have a validly existing lot. If the board would care to move forward, we're in a position where we would accept that. We've moved the proposed location of the structure and made certain other changes months ago, which speak to the issue of comments made by this board and also by the DEP. We believe that we have a validly existing lot and we're proposing the development of that lot. However, if the board feels that they would like to wait for the opinion of the city solicitor as to whether the Permit Extension Act applies to this particular locus and whether or not this lot exists, I'm confident it does. But if that is something you want to wait for, I'd be happy to grant an extension this evening. Lucia has also mentioned that in instances such as this, you sometimes, where it has been sitting, awaiting a decision for a considerable length of time, you sometimes take the position of re-advertising it and providing a new notice that you may act. I'm perfectly willing to participate in that and wait for that outcome. Or if the board would like to frame a question that the legal department would address, I'm fine with that. So I'm prepared to grant you further continuance until next month, or move forward this evening if you feel that's appropriate.
Right. Through the chair. Jack, I know with the ZBA, you have issues, you know, probably good grounds, but this is the Conservation Commission. And when we look at this, we're looking at wetlands ordinances and what's going to happen to the wetlands, what's going to happen to the immediate area based on building this. So I know the issues are more or less um, mildly linked to each other, but what's before us now is like if you had gotten a ZBA permission, gotten the variance, or you didn't even need a variance and it came before us, we would be looking at this project as whether it stays within the Wetlands Protection Act.
Sure, and
So
I agree with that.
I want to say that from the beginning, as before we go off into tangents about the ZBA and the Governor's Permit Extension Act, and that really doesn't apply to this body, does it?
Uh, sure, the Permit Extension Act would apply to this body um,
We
if
had
you had
voted
issued
no.
an order of conditions. But I will say I understand that I'm talking about an issue that is a zoning issue and not a Wetlands Protection Act issue. And as I said, I'm happy to go forward with the plan we've submitted if the board feels that's appropriate. There has been a kind of a background question which has been presented to the board, but I don't think ever presented to the legal department. So I don't know that you've got any insight on that transparency issue. And if you don't care to, if you want to act this evening, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Right. The transparency issue is really not our domain, is it? So I'd like to hear from the other members.
Through the chair. Okay, we've been talking about this for, like you said, for
Over a
couple
year.
of years. Yeah, a long time. And I had my reservations from the beginning when the project first came to us. I had some in the back of my head, something just didn't seem right about this property. Um, and and I had this, I remember something about not being able to subdivide this further, but because you presented to us with a permit from zoning, I I wasn't in a position to push that matter until we heard more that there was a decision or there was a condition set by the zoning board about subdividing that property. And as soon as I heard that, I knew exactly. I knew it from the beginning. This is a tough site. It's already been subdivided. You got permission to do that, and the intent was not to subdivide it again, for not zoning reasons, but for conservation reasons, with flooding and impacts to resource and so forth. So I was struggling back then, but since that time, and since this question came up, Jack, you mentioned that we haven't said anything. I've been talking about this ever since then, questioning about whether we should even be here tonight on this project, whether the project should have even been submitted to the commission. Um, because that's you're subdividing the lot, and that um, what's the word? The hardship associated with that is on the owner. In my opinion, they created their own hardship by trying to put another house on that lot when in fact it wasn't supposed to happen. The site should not have been subdivided again to put a new home on it. And I know you've spent a lot of time and energy, and probably the owners spent a lot of engineering time. But this has been bothering me for quite a while. And to the point where what we decided to do here tonight, even talking about denying this, I don't even know whether we should even be denying the project, because my heart, I don't believe this project ever should have been presented to us. And I say that because um, everybody who has a piece of property has the right to build on it. And if you can't do that, then and we deny it, that's a taking. All right. And for us, in my opinion, to deny a project like this is, I don't want to buy this land. But I don't think the project should ever have come before us. So I don't know how we move beyond this, because even if the city solicitor renders an opinion, I still don't think we should be here on this project. This project should not be before us. If this came new to us, very likely it would have probably not have passed. And we've got comments back from DEP, the close proximity of the wetland. and the no disturb zone, everything about it is just not a good spot to build a home and and trying to raise a family or kids, or it's just, and the flooding and the problems that the neighbors in the area has had for so long. So I'm really reluctant to um, support this project. Not so much that it was done intentionally, because I'm not saying that, but I don't believe under the zoning decision for this was tied to environmental and not a zoning setback or front yard setback or rear yard setback or square footage. It's regarding resource and wetlands. And for that reason, I don't even think this project should ever have come to us. So that's kind of my position. That's where I feel right now. Waiting for the city solicitor to render an opinion. I don't know. That doesn't change my mind about the project. It really doesn't. So that's kind of my position on this
Anybody
location.
else have an opinion?
Through the chair.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, you know where I stand. I said no from the get go before this ZBA thing ever came about. Um, Mine was purely based off of the neighbors' submittals of the us being able to watch videos of floods and everything else. I didn't think it was good for even the person who wanted to build a house. I think it's a bad idea. I think they'd have the potential to have a bad time and with potential for flooding and everything. But again, just you guys know where I stand from the beginning, and I'm not in support of this project at all.
Anybody else? Personally, I'm not in support of the project because it's encroaching on wetland and water, and it's just not going to wind up as a good deal. The residents currently have flooding issues um, when it rains like it's doing now, and I'm sure it would just be exacerbated with an additional piece of property next to the water like that. So I'm not in favor of moving forward on this at all. I do not know the transparency issue you're talking about, Jack, had to do with um, the
Board of
the
Appeals. That was all at the Board of Appeals.
yeah, the fact that the ZBA had made a ruling and it was not passed down to the current ZBA. Is that right?
That's the suggestion.
Well, we have a record of the original decision, and
Notwithstanding any of this, I say there's a order of conditions before notice of intent before you. If you no longer have zoning questions, if you have zoning questions and you want to wait, I'll give you the continuance. If you want to move forward tonight, do so.
all right, do we have a motion?
Well,
We
again,
gotta, we gotta
the chair.
tighten this up.
What?
So through the chair, thank you, Jack, for that. But my confusion or my concern is move on what? I think that um, the preparing for a new lot on that site and subdividing that lot again to put another house on it should not have happened. And that becomes that's in the environmental field. That's what they call segmentation, or can be looked at as segmentation, which is how I kind of see it.
This, just not to interrupt, but this is the only house. There was two existing house, which one is where Josephine Cook lives today. That's
Right,
there.
right.
And the other was a 5,000 square foot lot, and that got cut off. That was actually Joe's mom, and that was sold. The only new lot, as you're describing, is the
Right.
lot that's before you this evening.
Right. And so in my opinion, that should not be before us because the subdivision before to have two houses to build the house on the left and the one on the right was that you would not come back, the property owner would not come back and subdivide again to create another lot. That was the zoning decision. And when you think about that with conservation, that's a clear understanding. What that means is, okay, you've got this now, but you got this big chunk of property. Don't come back. Don't come back and divide that again. That's segmentation. And if there's no hardship, you can't present a hardship on that because you're creating your own hardship. And so for that reason, I don't know what our job is in terms of how do you deny something that never should have been before us? And I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not sure how to do that. You know, to say we're going to deny it, we have all these reasons we could deny it, but I don't even know whether we should even be discussing it. I almost think the project should be withdrawn with prejudice or whatever the term is, and not be before us. I feel we shouldn't have to deny this project. It should not be before us. And I don't know if that, does that make any sense, Jack?
Through the chair, Jack, would you
Well,
consider
not to me as
withdrawing-
the advocate, Mike.
Yeah.
would you consider withdrawing?
Arthur, go ahead.
Would you consider withdrawing, Jack?
No, no.
So we talk about, yeah, we know it shouldn't have been before us, but it's been before us for almost a year. And then there's all these other back issues that are going to determine whether he gets the variance or not. And if he gets the variance, he's going to come back to us and it's going to be before us. So it's like a complication that if we just assume that this is a naked proposal before us for the first time and we go on what our area of expertise is and not the area of what the zoning board and variances are, and discuss it and mull it over and take a vote based on our role as Conservation Commission with blinders on and not get sidetracked by it wasn't supposed to be before us anyways. I don't know if we'll be doing any harm by voting on something that wasn't supposed to be before us, but that could take, a long time to determine if it's.
Well, I think
Use it in
again,
time.
if the through the chair again, if the board feels the way they do, this board, about the project, and certainly knowing and having that zoning decision back in 2003 for good reason, and for all the reasons that the neighborhood and the area is dealing with, is the impacts and the flooding and those kind of things. So if we say continue it, and the city solicitor says that it's okay, and now zoning, they come back to us and saying the opinion is that it's a legal lot and the subdivision of that property is okay. Now, if we deny that, that's a taking, right? You're taking somebody's property and you say they can't build, and I don't want to be buying somebody's property. And so I don't know, maybe we should deny it before the city solicitor renders a decision. But I'm not that kind of person. I'm just trying to be fair and trying to understand it better myself. But that's how I'm seeing this. I just don't think the project should be before us for all those reasons.
Well, through the chair, we deny people's right to build all the time as part of this Conservation Commission. So it's not, we do have that responsibility if we find that it's in violation.
Through the chair, there is an appeal process, so if they felt that there's always the appeal process that the applicant can appeal to court and to DEP. I do just want to remind you guys that before you do, if you are going to make a motion for anything tonight, you do have to open it to the public. I saw that someone just raised their hand.
Okay. Let me open it up to the public. And I don't see who raised. Oh, Was it Tom St. Pierre? No. Whoever raised their hand.
Tom Kench, Stewart.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
It just says Tom's iPhone. Sorry.
Yeah. I wish you would vote on it because I'm watching my yard getting close to getting flooded right now.
I'm sure.
And also, I had to put on some 6x6 posts to extend my deck, and I had to be 50 feet from the wetland. And Mrs. Cook is going to be building in the wetland, so I don't think that's fair at all. That's it. That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kinch, your address for the record, please.
21 Glendale Avenue, Elizabeth.
I'd like
Anybody
to make
else
a comment. I'd like to make a comment that I think the commission should re-advertise, since there has been such a lag in time frame and discussing this topic, that the public would be notified more thoroughly that this meeting will be discussed again in more detail, and the commission will hopefully take a decision at that time.
There's somebody else that's got their hand raised,
Yep,
and I just
the public is aware of this meeting tonight, so I don't know if that's necessary, but that's always an option. I did just allow someone to unmute themselves, so someone hopefully is going to be speaking soon.
it says iPad. There you are. Identify yourself and your address, please.
Am I on?
You're on.
My name is William Delp. I live at 13 Granite Road for the past 57 years. My property backs up to this wetland. That has been a concern of the Conservation Commission and many of the abutters around this wetland. In fact, there is an easement applied to my property for a pipe for an underground brook that feeds this wetland. In the past 57 years, we have experienced many flooding issues and overflowing of this wetland, causing hardships and damage to properties around it and also upstream from it. Due to the lack of maintenance in this area, it has filled in with vegetation, silt, street sand carried in from the brook. The capacity of the water storage has been diminished greatly in the time I have lived here. The city granted building permit for Granite Road extension with no apparent thought to the effect this would have on the brook. The brook originates at the base of the hills at the end of Granite Road extension. This water comes from runoff from fissures in the granite where boulder wood development is today. The problem Granite Road extension has caused with the water runoff has cost the city so far approximately $450,000. With phase 2 plans on the table, if phase 1 doesn't cure the problem, that would be an additional cost of $400,000. This project that they did does not reduce the water flow to the wetland. It increases it and gets the water there faster. I have seen the water table in this area come up in the past to the point my sump pump tank has water in it most of the year. When I moved in, it never had water in it, only when we had flooding rains, and it would be dry in a day or two. I am very concerned of anything that will reduce the area of water storage and anything put into the ground to push the water table up any higher. At this time, I have added additional sump pump, hinged 3 sections of fence to allow water to flow through my yard, make a plug to seal off my cellar window, and I have had to replace my garage floor. This is because repeated flooding of my garage, which water got underneath the slab and compromised the support to the slab. It cracked and it was hollow underneath. I am in fear of anything, additional changes that may cause this wetland that would make more hardships for me and hardships we might experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Well spoken. Anybody else in the public? No, I see nobody raising their hands. Want to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Roll call. I need a second, I guess. Have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, that motion to close was made by Mr. Athos, seconded by Mr. Comack. Roll call, Chairman Lazaris,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo, Vice Chairman Rizzo? Did we lose him?
No, he's there. He's muted. There he is.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
and neither of the alternates are voting on this, so it is closed, 0 to 6 with the alternates not voting.
Okay. I'm still of the opinion that this is not going to help anybody living on Granite Road, anybody living on Glendale. It's just going to exacerbate the issue. There was a period where the exit of this body of water, which is now shallow and overgrown, was plugged up at the Troy Street culvert. And then flooding was experienced by everybody. The neighbors, I think, went into the water and cleared the clog. And it's an ongoing issue with keeping the water level, down. And there's no apparent movement to dredge or clean out this water body. So adding housing to it or building into this wetland is not going to help the issue. So I'm at a loss where we move from here, although I'd like to believe Mike Rizzo was right that this should not be in front of us because it was denied a long time ago. Anybody have a comment?
I think we should take a vote tonight and based on all the evidence and the wetlands ordinances, and some of the people that spoke tonight, that it's
You want to make the motion, Arthur?
take a vote. Okay, me?
Well, the choice is, you make a motion to issue an order of conditions, or you make a motion not to issue order of conditions and move on a different decision.
I think we should make a motion to issue the decision, and then if you feel so strongly, then you disagree or do not approve of it.
And where were all the reasons for denial come in under that motion?
Okay, so the motion would be a positive to approve this,
Ooh,
and people can vote no. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, I think now the choice is, you close the public hearing. Now you either gonna approve the project or not approve the project.
Okay. Do we have a motion
Okay.
to approve?
I mean, basically,
So-
someone just needs to make a motion and then we do a roll call and it passes or it doesn't pass. So
Right.
if someone wants to make a motion to approve it, they make that motion. If they want to make a motion to deny it, but you would need to give reasons if you're going to deny it. And if you're going to give a favorable order, we should probably have some extra conditions.
Arthur?
Now I'm confused.
Well, if you make a motion to
Deny. And then we
deny,
can include the reasons for denial.
that's right.
You don't, Arthur, you don't have to reiterate everything that you think you could, you do have to give reasons though.
Right.
But those reasons can be stated later in a formal decision. Just as just a verbal vote, right?
Right. Yeah, you don't have to, you
Well,
have to give
can't
all.
just no, you have to state reasons why you're denying it. Like if it's chapter, whatever, like under 310 CMR 10.53 parentheses 1, or 310 CMR 10.05 parentheses C parentheses 6 parentheses C, or any of our chapter 3254 or whatever. Like, you can't just deny it. Like, that's definitely gonna not hold up. So you
Would be
either
a
have to
motion.
state some reasons to deny it and take that motion and see if what happens. If that doesn't, maybe someone makes a motion, another motion. I don't know. We'll see. I just think someone needs to make a motion to do something.
I can give it a stab. Motion to deny under local wetland
Can you do
ordinance.
that, Stu,
Can I?
the chair?
Well, I can. I'm usually not. I usually don't, but the reason I don't is because it's encouraging the members of the commission to, participate in a more direct manner. But if we're stuck, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've got reasons to deny under local wetlands, reasons from the ZBA prohibiting further houses on a said lot. There's a lot of reasons to deny. Flooding is again another one. So somebody else wants to take a stab at this. Go ahead.
Let me make the motion to deny, based on the following, chapter 32 wetlands ordinance dash 54. That burden of proof by preponderance of credible evidence that work proposed will not have an unacceptable significant cumulative effect upon the resource areas, the buffer zones, or wetland values. And it was a failure to provide adequate evidence is sufficient. Okay. Chapter 32-38, under the dimensional regulations, the driveways and utility connections should be installed as far as practically possible from the resource. The driveway, well, I want to strike that. Because okay, I don't want to go with 32-38. I want to go to 32-33. No disturb presumption. The Conservation Commission requires 25 no disturb, 25 feet of no disturb. They are doing work in the 25 no disturb zone. Work should have been scaled back, so the 25 no disturb zone is not being disturbed.
Yeah, they,
32-22, the denial of a permit for failure to avoid or prevent unacceptable or cumulative effects on wetland values protected by this ordinance. And no conditions can be imposed, okay, which are adequate. No. I would leave it at that. If anyone wants to add on something, we are to vote
I
for
concur,
that.
yeah, I concur with that. On the no disturb um, presumption, the petitioner has come back with us more than once with changes to the site to scale it back, but um, they're still inside the no disturb zone. So uh, that still doesn't meet our standard for this particular project at this location.
You want to second this, Mike?
I just want to add from the DEP that DEP comments on their opinion that there may be an immediate or inadvertent alteration to the wetland.
Yes.
That's it.
I'm sorry, the DEP opinion is there may be an immediate or inadvertent alteration
Right.
to wetland resources. 310 CMR 10.53 1. Okay. Anybody want to second this?
I'll second it.
Add to it.
Roll call.
Oh, before,
Go ahead.
can I ask Lucia if there's anything we're leaving out?
Yeah, I mean, I think 32-38, the dimensional regs, under our local ordinance is, another good reason under our local ordinance to deny it, as well as the one that you just mentioned, the 310 CMR 10.53 parentheses 1, and then the 310 CMR 10.5 parentheses 6, parentheses C, if the commission finds that the information submitted by the applicant is not sufficient to describe the site, the work, or the effect of the work on the interests identified in MGL 131, Section 40, it may issue an order prohibiting the work. The order shall specifically specify the information for which is lacking and why is it necessary. The example would be that there was never an alternative analysis done. The house could be scaled down still significantly. You guys did ask for several revisions, and we are here tonight, and you are still talking about them being in the no disturb zone. So that is the one I would definitely add that. And then, of course, reasons from the neighbors, the flooding, the fact that the city has spent a lot of money on the flooding issue and Granite Road that Mr. Delp spoke of earlier, or Mr. Kench, I can't remember which one, someone mentioned it. So I think those are all really good reasons. And again, they would have the ability to appeal this to court under our local ordinance and to the Mass DEP under the 310 CMR 10 regs.
So I would ask.
And also at the site, this has gone before our city boards on a previous project, and it was said that this property should not be subdivided again, and no house shall be built on it. And
I kind
because
of,
that's segmentation, so that's just another item.
Yep.
Anybody want to, is the motion is Lucia finally added to it? Does anybody want to second that?
yeah, she added some.
Yeah, but you can accept it if you want, Arthur.
Yes, yes,
Then does anybody want to second the motion?
I thought I did. Okay, I'll second.
Okay, okay, thank you. Roll call.
All right, so that motion to deny under 3254, 3238, 3233, 3222D and E, regarding also denying it under the ZBA variance from 2003, which prohibits any further houses on said lot. Reasons to deny under the Wetlands Protection Act, 310 CMR 10.53 parentheses 1 and 310 CMR 10.5 parentheses 6 parentheses C. And then someone also mentioned reasons from the neighbors, and the flooding of the neighbors. I can word that a little bit better in the actual denial. That is what I have so far. That was made by Mr. Athis, seconded by Mr. Rizzle. Anyone want to add anything before I do a roll call?
No.
Roll call, Chairman Lazaris.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Reasons not to vote. The decision for,
Is to
I vote
deny.
yes. I vote yes.
No, you're voting to deny it right now.
Voting to deny, yes.
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 Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Athis,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
No.
All right, so that motion passes 5-1 with Bruce voting no and the alternates not voting. So Jack is aware that this is an appeal. He can appeal it if he wants. Once it's drafted, he has 10 business days. It would need to be appealed. This is under the state and local, so it would need to get appealed DEP within 10 days, and then I think it's 60 to court. I can't remember.
Somebody is talking, but they're
Are
muted.
we moving on to the next item?
Okay. Next item, item 2, public hearing on a notice of intent submitted by Allen and Major Associates, Jackie Trainer for Atlantic Oliver, 140 Summit Street, LLC, Michael Shunta, applicant owner. The project consists of constructing a paved truck parking area at the rear of the site in an existing grass area with curbing. Property is known as 140 Summit Street, map 93, lot 8, Peabody, Mass. Meeting when we started talking about this today, 12/11. First time we're discussing it. Who is here to?
Yep, that's me, David Robinson with Allen and Major Associates.
Oh, okay, Dave, go ahead.
Yep, good evening. For the record, as I mentioned, my name is David Robinson. I'm a project manager with Allen and Major Associates. Um, Here to present another project at the Christian Book Facility at 140 Summit Drive in Peabody. You may remember that we were before you last month for a partial certificate of compliance at the same site for a large building addition project. During that project, the owner of Christian Book asked me to put a new notice of intent together for sort of a complementary project to that large building addition and site improvements project. And it's basically just a large 1 acre impervious paved curbed includes drainage, some light poles, some parking lot striping. It's a paved area at the rear of the site. Currently, the area in question is covered with hydroseed. We're hoping that that's going to establish this summer. It was utilized as sort of a stockpile area during construction. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to share my screen and just kind of quickly run through the site plan so you have an idea of where I'm talking about, what I'm talking about, what the impacts to the 100-foot wetland buffers are. I should mention that the work is only within, it's on kind of the fringe of the 100-foot buffer, as I'll show you, and there is no work within the riverfront area on site. So if it's all right, I'd like to share my screen with some site plans.
Go ahead.
Let me know when you can see that.
I can see it.
Okay. So we're calling this a truck court parking area. It's sort of in the rear of the Christian Book site, and I do have an aerial further down in the site plan so that you can see what we're exactly where we're talking about in an aerial view. There are two wetland areas where we encroach on the fringe of the 100-foot buffer. There's this delineated D series. Now, these series, both of the D and the E series, were delineated during the previous project by Goddard Consulting, and we provided you with a delineation report. And they were surveyed by my firm. We're the record surveyors and civil engineers on the project. You can see the associated 100-foot buffer in these dashed gray line at the rear. We just clip it a little bit with some paved parking area, and you can see this 100-foot buffer as well. This is the as-built from the previous project. You may remember that there's a riverfront planting area up here. There's a large building addition here. We expanded the basin up front here. But for this project, we're talking about this previously cleared and grassed area, which is now hydroseeded with like some compacted soil and hydroseed. There shouldn't be any cutting down of trees for this project. It's kind of an open, clear area, and I will show that to you in an aerial photo. This is our erosion control plan. Same as the previous project, we're proposing silt fence and large straw wattles around the perimeter of the grading for the site to keep everything from flowing off into the keep everything on site and from flowing off into the E or D series wetlands to the south and east of the subject area. This is our layout and materials plan. These dark gray hatched areas are the areas where we're encroaching on the wetlands. We're only encroaching on the wetland areas. We have approximately 844 square feet of impervious and 3,090 square feet of total area at the rear. So it just kind of clips the 1 acre impervious parking lot. These are all the truck trailers that they'll be parking and storing back there on. This will be heavy duty pavement with an access drive right here. This was recently paved in the previous project, this little rectangle. And so this is sort of just a continuation of the truck parking area from the previous project, but the owner wanted it under a new NOI and separate in case they go with a different contractor. There's also some disturbance down here. You can see 4,600 square feet total disturbed, and of that, 1,600 square feet is impervious within the wetlands. So a little bit of clipping of the wetlands here. We're also proposing a couple of light pole bases, 6 in total, around the perimeter of the site to illuminate that properly. And we're also showing this hatched area at the top here is snow storage, kind of away from the wetlands here and here outside of the 100-foot buffers. no real change to parking or to zoning. And we did not need site plan approval for this one. I reached out to Drew Levin in the planning department, and he confirmed we do not need site plan review for this. Here's an aerial of the site before the addition was put in this grassed area up front. Now this is a nice, beautiful, big warehouse. But just to give you an idea, this is the area we're talking about. You can see this was previously cleared even before the previous project. There was a little basketball court in there that's now gone. But this was just a grass kind of slope that, or grassed field that gently sloped to the plan east to the rear of the site. This is our, another small part of the project. We kind of wanted to include this with the previous project, but we didn't want to kind of muddy the waters as we were at requesting our partial certificate of compliance. We are also including a small continuation of an existing concrete sidewalk right here. This is an existing concrete sidewalk. You can cross here. This is all built, and we're looking to for permission to construct a 133 square foot, 5 foot wide concrete sidewalk within the 100 foot wetland buffer. And this is the buffer right here, this dark black line. It'll have an ADA ramp and connect to a walking path, and there's also a door right here. It was a request from the client. The grading and drainage is pretty straightforward for this project. As I mentioned, the grade pretty much just slopes back from a high point here and just slopes back at a 3% till you get to the rear of the paved parking area. A little bit of grading just to meet the existing grades around the perimeter north and south. Nothing steeper than a 3-to-1, which is already installed out there. We are proposing 2 double catch basins at the rear of the site at the low point, so everything will kind of drain back here. Hit these 2 catch basins. They're funneled together to a drain manhole. That kicks out to a proposed water quality unit that we've sized appropriately to treat for hydrocarbons like gas and oil, as well as drop out the sediments, similar to what we've done previously. That will tie to a doghouse manhole that's on an existing 24-inch corrugated metal pipe. This will ultimately flow to one of the 2 basins in the rear here. Whoops. There are 2 large existing stormwater basins. And just a quick note on these, when Lucia and I were out there 1 or 2 weeks ago to walk the site from the previous project, we did notice that Christian Book was properly maintaining this rear basin, which is great. We are not touching this basin up front. We're only tying into this basin that exists. We were peer reviewed on the previous project, and I noticed that there is a lot of capacity available and water quality volume in this very large rear basin. So we're going to take advantage of that. We don't need to construct any additional drainage capacity. We just need to treat the water and get it here. There's an outfall structure, basically just a pipe discharging to the basin right here. And there's an outlet control structure at the rear of the basin. Once it fills up to a certain volume, it overtops that OCS and flows out to a flared end section. This is all existing, and it just discharges to the wetlands in the rear. So just kind of taking advantage of the existing drainage that is out there currently. We also did a quick photometrics plan showing all the light poles that are needed to illuminate the project. Again, it is a truck court kind of storage area. We do want to make sure it's decently well lit for the safety of the truckers out there. The red line is the 1-foot candle line, and the blue line is the half-foot candle line. So you can see most of the lighting is contained within just this 1-acre impervious parking lot area, which is currently hydroseeded. And I think that's pretty much it. It's a pretty straightforward project. It's sort of a continuation of the previous project. We did do some truck turning analyses to make sure that we could get the trucks in here. Some of the spots are a little bit harder to back into than others, and we need this little asphalt turnaround area at the rear, as you can see. I think that's a pretty good overview to get you an idea of the project. At this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions and comments from the commission.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
The the screen you're showing us now with the truck parking,
Yeah.
is it for trailers or for trailers and tractors?
So this parking is this is going to only be for trailers.
Okay.
They really just need to store the trailers there. They typically do not store the cabs overnight. I know the operation pretty well after working on this for the last year and a half. The trucks come in, they drop their trailers. They sometimes pick up another trailer that Christian Book has staged and ready to go for them, and they take off.
Okay.
Very rarely does a cab stay overnight unless there's some kind of inclement weather or
My my concern is any kind of leakage from the cab.
Totally understood. The plan is to not store any cabs at the rear here. Um, and honestly, if they were to store cabs, they wouldn't be able to back into the spaces. As you can see, you need to come really close to where the trailers are. Um,
Oh.
to get into any of the spaces. So I've gone over it with the client. They understand they can't have any cabs back there. And they typically don't. If you go out there now, there's just a bunch of trailers without the cabs.
Anybody else have any questions? Nobody?
Can can you show the sidewalk again one more time in
Yeah,
relation
yeah.
to where it is on the property, where it
Yeah.
sits on the property?
So this good question. So this is Summit Street right here. And this is the entrance to the property. You come in and there is already an existing, sorry, there's an existing concrete sidewalk right here. They just want to extend it like 133 feet. There's a new loading dock that we just installed here. This is the new building addition, and this is an existing paved truck driveway. So it's just this area.
So it's the sidewalk and then the cross, that hashed area is the crosswalk over the.
Correct. Yeah, this would be
Okay.
a striped
Mhm.
crosswalk just to get across the road because there's a door right here. So it's kind of to access this door.
Okay.
Through the chief,
Go ahead.
just one question. So you have some buffer zone impacts as a result of the layout of this parking. So my question is, how many parking spaces do you need to have? You got 30 trucks. How did you come up with that? Do you need 30? If you cut it down to 26 trucks, you would be out of the buffer zone on the backside of the property. So I wasn't sure how you come up with 30 spaces.
So that came directly from Christian Book. They are really growing their operation right now and this is partly to support that new building addition that we did. Um, and they also want to have the spaces for in case they ever subdivide or lease out the new 83,000 square feet. They actually have a sign on the side of the road. They would like to get a tenant in there, and this is sort of favorable to a tenant to have the parking. They do have a lot of not cabs, trailers that are left there overnight. Especially right now, if you go out there right now, they're kind of leaving them in the parking area and they're taking up parking for passenger cars. So I understand your concern, but they believe that it's warranted, and especially right now is their busiest time of year in December. So they want to have, dedicated space that's safe to park the trailers um, at the rear of the site and kind of keep them out of the way of the operation. Because right now they're just kind of parked in these parking spaces, and pretty much all of these stalls are filled with trailers currently. So they do have a big operation. They're planning for future expansion, and they're also planning to possibly subdivide or lease out the 83,000 square foot building addition to a tenant.
Is there a vernal pool on the property that's shown on the map?
So it's not a certified vernal pool, it's a potential vernal pool. Lucia and I did discuss that when we were out on site last week, and it's in this basin in the front. This is an existing, there's a decent amount of kind of like vegetation in the basin. It's an existing basin that's separate than this basin. They are connected via a 24-inch pipe. You can see this drain manhole and this pipe. There's actually another pipe that goes from this basin. So it's a potential vernal pool. It's in this basin. We're not tying into that. We're not connecting our drainage. It's not any part of the project. We're leaving it alone. It's in this basin. We're tying into this basin, but they are hydraulically connected with a pipe. But we're tying in here, which only flows to this basin. There's actually a little shutoff valve here between the two.
So,
Are you disturbing that?
No, no.
Because it's, you know, you say potential, usually the presumption is that it is a vernal pool.
yeah,
Well, I think
So,
that so first of all, this is a functioning basin. It's a stormwater basin. It was designed that way. Most likely, the PVP came after this was created, but we're not touching it. We're not um, disturbing it. And there is a difference between a potential vernal pool and a certified vernal pool. And this is a potential. So that's why we're discharging all of our drainage to this basin only. This one's been left alone for both projects.
okay.
Through the chair.
go ahead. Arthur, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, so all these truck spaces aren't specifically for Christian Book Brother containers, or that you said something about subcontracting them out or subleasing them out?
Well, for right now, they are only for Christian book. However, in the future, there is the possibility of leasing out to a tenant, some other tenant who needs warehouse space, these stalls in the back. But for right now, they are only for Christian book trailers.
So how many do you expect to in the future to lease out?
We don't know that yet.
Okay, so when you talk about subdividing, you're just talking about just splitting the parking or actually adding more buildings or something?
No more building. I think that they're pretty much I think that they're actually totally maxed out. I don't think they can really add any meaningful buildings on site. What I'm talking about is the the um the new addition. They may in the future either put a demising wall in and lease it out to a tenant who would have rights to the parking, to the new parking that we're discussing now, or they may lease out the whole thing to a tenant who would have the parking rights. But for right now, Christian Book is planning to use it to store their trailers long term because they just don't have enough trailer storage on site, and especially now with the new addition.
So if they subdivide,
Mhm.
you'll come back to us with that information and where their parking is changed.
Yeah, if there's a new tenant going in and anything changes like that, if they subdivide that, then yeah, we would come back before you. I don't
Okay.
think that's an issue.
Um,
Through the chair.
go ahead.
Well, the where where it comes in, where the parking lot is in the buffer zone on like the bottom, not the back where they have to turn.
Right here, talking about
No,
like
the other
right
one.
here.
So is that currently part of the hydro seeded field, or this is all part of that current hydro seeded field? There's you said
Correct.
there's no trees coming down, but the grading is going to change, and you got the catch basins But I was just, yeah, this is good that you zoomed in on it. I was
Yep. So
looking.
this is the 100-foot buffer. This rectangle is the existing paved area that we just installed like a month ago.
Okay.
And this is going to be like a little landscaped area in between the two. And then this is the edge of the new pavement. So you can see it's just this little corner in the buffer area.
Okay.
What are the round, go down again if you would, please. What are the round bumps there? Are
Right
those,
here? Oh,
yeah,
these?
plants?
Yeah.
This is the tree line that it's actually out there now.
Okay.
This is the tree. So there's a slope. Lucia and I actually walked this last week. There's like a slope here, and we had to kind of cut the vegetation back a little bit here. Um,
But those round shapes are trees?
yeah, this is the tree line.
Okay. So those trees are staying.
Correct. Yeah, this is all, it's pretty much, it's all hydroseed. It's a hydroseeded slope.
Okay. Do we want to open this to the public? Is there anybody from the public? I don't see any hands raised. So at this point, want to close the public hearing? Have a motion to close?
Stu, just say it's open to the public, just
I did.
formally, so that in case something happens later, just say it's been formally and open to the public for
I
comment.
did. I said open to the public. At any rate, no, there's no hands raised, so I'm assuming no one in the public wishes to speak. Is that correct? I need a motion to close.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Thank
Second.
you. Second,
Seconded.
roll call.
I think I heard Jamie second it. Am I wrong?
You
No.
are wrong.
What?
It was Amanda.
Okay, I thought I heard Jamie first and then Amanda. No.
Oh, maybe it was.
I did. I had a little frog in my throat though, so I don't think it was quite as
Okay,
loud as I intended.
I'm gonna go with that one, I guess. A motion to close made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Miss Hera. Roll call. I lost my roll call. Give me a second. Roll call. Chairman Lazarus.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, it is closed 8-0.
All right. The other issue that remains, there is currently an O&M plan for the property, correct?
There's
And,
there's a couple. There,
well,
yeah.
can we get one master plan for all of it?
So I think the only issue I can think of is that I believe that the two O&M plans we have are by two different firms. So it
What does that mean? What is it? What do I care?
Okay.
You want to have
I-
it maintained.
Okay. So you do have two distinct report O&Ms on file right now, one from 2016 prepared by SMMA, who's a civil engineer, and one from 2024 or 23 prepared by me with A&M. So, I mean, I guess you could just combine those two PDFs together, but I can't kind of take another engineer's work and lump it in with mine, I guess is my concern.
So if we want a report for the maintenance every October 31,
Yep.
there's two different reports coming?
No, there's one report. Well, you know, it's a good point because there's
Well, if we make it one plan, then we get one report.
with everything in it. Okay.
Yeah.
I can talk offline with Lucia because we've already kind of started to roll the ball on this. So
Okay.
let me just discuss with her exactly how she wants to handle it. We have no problem doing it. I just want to make sure that we're not kind of taking credit from another engineer or taking their O&M plan and just combining it with ours. But let me talk to her and see if we can't streamline it.
Okay, and then there'll be a third one for this new plan for the parking.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so the issue is, I'd like to see one O&M plan with reports coming from Christian Book, I guess,
Yeah,
each October 31.
it's from Christian Book, and I know that they've been really good about getting you guys those maintenance reports every year, which
Right.
is important. So yeah, I'll
Okay.
discuss with Lucia how to best kind of.
It just makes it easier for Lucia and easier for Christian Book.
Sure.
So,
Understood. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
all right. We have
Okay.
a motion at this point.
Items 1 through 50, right?
What?
Issuing an order of conditions.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
This is for 1 to 50, adding 51 for the O&M of perpetuity.
Yeah.
And maintenance reports submitted annually on 10/31 for all three of these plans, and hopefully in one. Okay? Anybody else?
I'd like to add that if the Allen and Major could address the just if they're gonna change the site plan for anything, they add the vernal pool for the location of the vernal pool, the estimated location.
Yeah, we could do that. It was in the wetlands report, but if you want me to put it on the site plan as well, just for clarity,
A little bit more, just to have it together, more visual too on the.
Sure.
If we need to reference in the future.
Yep, no problem.
The idea of putting it in one place just makes it easier for the Conservation Commission
Both
10 years
places.
from now to
Right.
figure out what's going on.
Good point.
Anybody else?
I'd just like to add a condition that the bordering wetlands are kept free of debris. I'm not diming out anybody for anything, but I'd just like to make sure that that's a condition.
Okay. We have a motion made by Mike with some additions to it. Lucia, can you read the thing so far?
Yep, I just heard the motion from Mr. Rizzo, 1 through 50. I believe you, Stu, added 51 that the O&M plan needs to be submitted annually, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Amanda said that she wants the bordering vegetated wetlands kept clear of debris. Did you want to expand on that? I'm not sure if it says anything in the O&M about that. I think the O&M is just like about, the stormwater stuff. So is that just how you want it read, Amanda? Like, do you want them
Yeah,
to
I just
like maybe
yeah,
quarterly, every 4 times a year or something? Spring, summer, winter, fall?
I guess
Sure.
quarterly would be good.
And then about the O&M plan, I don't know if you guys want to talk about that now. I mean, you guys can either, leave the O&M plan now for this one, and then after me and Mr. Robinson, I definitely understand what he's talking about. Um, After we can like Frankenstein a master O&M plan that I can put in all the plans, on all the files, excuse me. So now, and then to go back to Mr. Vivaldi, I think he said if you are going to revise the plan, if you need to revise the plan, he would like the vernal pool put on the plan. But at this point, I don't think there's a need for a revision, correct?
There's not.
We
There,
could
there's
just cite on the like to I mean I agree with Mr. Vivaldi, it is under our local ordinance, even uncertified potential vernal pools, even if they are not certified, are still protected. So maybe we can just add something on the pages of the condition stating that the vernal pool is it's not certified, it shows up, like we could just write a little blurb so that it is still respected as a potential vernal pool, if that sounds fair to everyone.
Yeah,
So it'd be in the conditions, nothing visual on the plans.
Yeah, I mean, it is stormwater is going into it right now. So I mean, it was probably the vernal pool was what Dave said. It was probably created because of the water going in there during the spring.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Okay. I thought it was like more of a natural
Yeah,
vernal
it's
pool.
definitely a basin. That was what I wanted to confirm when I was on site. It's actually a gorgeous basin. They were maintaining the larger one, which is like a cleared basin. This basin, it's a little more vegetated. It probably needs a cleaning, but honestly, when I looked at it, I just felt that it was functioning the way it was, and wildlife was loving it. So until there's a problem, I like as long as there's not like massive trees growing in the bottom of it, I think it's okay. It's definitely functioning, and wildlife is loving it.
Okay.
So we're just
Um,
noted on the conditions. Okay.
All right, unless of course they revise the plans, and then if they
Cool.
have to revise the plan or come back for an amendment or something,
Correct.
you want it on that plan. So that
Correct.
motion was made by Mr. Rizzo. We do need a second on the order of conditions, or if anyone wants to add any more conditions.
I'll second it.
Roll
All right.
call.
So that motion was made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call, Chairman Lazaris.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes 8-0.
8. We only have 7 commissioners, right? Or 9.
I thought everyone was here tonight, no?
Right, but I thought there was only 7 commissioners.
No, we have 8. We are supposed to have 9, but we lost Rita.
Okay, we're supposed to have 9. Okay.
All right. On to item 3.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Certificate of compliance. Request for full certificate of compliance is made by Daniela D. Oliver on DEP file number 55922. Project is the construction of a 360 square foot single story addition to the existing commercial building in Riverfront. The address is known as 168 Main Street, map 86, lot 159. Order of conditions expired on 11/16/2013. First meeting date on this one is 12/11/24. It's tonight. So who's here for that?
That was a typo. It didn't expire 10 years, 11 years ago. It expired
23?
yeah, I think it might have just expired in 24. I think I'm like really off with that. But
All right.
regardless, the work is done, but I do not see anyone in the audience, so it's up to you if you guys want to vote on it without anyone here or if you want to continue it.
It's the project is done and functioning, correct?
Correct.
So
Is
we
there-
can, so I'm open for a motion for a full certificate of compliance.
I would
Through-
motion to make until somebody is in attendance so that they can actually be at our meeting and just instead of just putting something on our agenda and not being in attendance.
Okay.
Through the chair, Lucia, have you been out to the site? Is everything all set?
Yeah, I go there a lot to eat their delicious baked goods. Yes, she has submitted, if you guys look on the OneDrive, she has submitted all of her drywall. I'm a little honestly, I'm a little surprised she's not here. She has been one of the easiest people I've probably ever worked with. She's very accommodating. She's very helpful. So I'm assuming she just got busy with December and totally forgot about tonight. I mean, I can email her, and if you guys want to go on to the next one and see if she logs in, if you guys feel comfortable. I mean, it was a single story addition on the road. It was in the outer riparian. It's outside of FEMA floodplain. the drywalls are functioning again. The drywall data should be on the OneDrive, as well as a surveyed plot plan from her surveyor. So it's really up to you guys. I know for commercial, most of the time you guys want someone here, so it's really up to you. If you guys feel that you can look at what's on there, I can try to email her and see if she if you want to go on to the next one, come back to this. It's up to you guys. Just let me know.
Well, I think everything's probably in order. My only question would be with regard to the O&M plan that do they know that they need to submit a report annually?
Oh,
And that,
Daniela knows. She knows. She's definitely aware.
then I'm okay with it.
All right. Anybody else have a comment before we ask for a vote? Okay, so do we need a motion to issue full certificate of compliance with the O&M in perpetuity, requiring maintenance reports annually on 10/31? Who wants to make that motion?
I'll make that motion. Just a quick question though, was there a letter submitted saying that all the work was done? I know you went there and looked at it, Lucia, but
There should be something. I think Dave Terranzoni. I'll look on the OneDrive if you can't find it. Hold on.
yeah, you have I'm looking at it now. Yeah. Yeah, okay. No, there it is, a letter. I'm okay, good. I'm good. I'll make the
And
motion.
he also submitted an as-built plan as well. I'm pretty
I got it.
positive.
Yeah, I got it. So I'll make the motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for item number 3, 168 Main Street.
Do you have a second?
I second.
Roll
All right,
call.
that motion was made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Ms. Harrop. Roll call. Chairman Lazaris.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
No.
Commissioner Green.
No.
Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the motion.
It was a motion for a full certificate of compliance with the O&M in perpetuity.
At the place that you eat, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have pretty good bread.
Yeah, that I completely, yes, I agree with that.
Commissioner Cassidy
Yes.
and Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, so that motion passes 6-2 with Mr. Vivaldi and Miss Green voting no. And I will call and make sure Danielle is okay tomorrow, because this is like really out of character for her. And I will make it abundantly clear, that she missed the meeting. I'm assuming that you guys both voted no because she's not here. And then I will make it extremely clear that she knows that she has to continue with the ongoing maintenance of the drywalls.
Okay. All right. Item 4. A request for a full certificate of compliance is made by Karen Rapucci from PMLP on DEP file 55916. Project was the repaving of an existing parking lot and the creation of a paved access to, the spray pond parking lot along Warren Street. Address is known as 201 Warren Street, extension map 63, lot 95, Peabody, Mass. Order of conditions expires 10/27/2025. Today's the first night we're meeting on it. Welcome, Karen. You're muted.
Thank you. Hi, this is Karen Rapucci. I'm the finance manager at PMLP, Peabody Municipal Light Plant. I have Darren Kerjerkian from Weston and Sampson that was the engineers on this project to help me get this full certificate of compliance.
Darren, you're muted also. Please identify yourself and who you represent.
Yes, good evening. I'm Darren Kirchen. I'm a team leader with Weston and Sampson. working with PMLP on these two projects, so can provide any information. If it's helpful, I can summarize the projects, but whatever the board would like to hear. Commission. Sorry.
Lucia, have you done a site visit?
I have not. There are pictures on the OneDrive.
Yeah.
I offered to come out on Monday and it didn't happen. So no, I did not.
Okay. Is there any issues we should be aware of?
I mean, this was the, hold on, let me just double check which one this one is.
There's two we're requesting.
This is one with the paved access to a spray pond.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they want to bring up some plans and then that will jog my memory.
Okay.
Sure. I can pull those up one moment.
Yeah. Well, personally, I have no idea where the spray pond is.
All right, is that screen showing?
Not yet. There you go.
Perfect. So this is at PMLP's headquarters off the Warren Street extension. It's a former quarry. And the paving project and the order of conditions we received in 2022 is related to repaving the project, parking lot driveways around PMLP for their operations, as well as this smaller parking lot, which is the spray pond parking lot, which is located west, further down the Warren Street extension. There's no change to impervious area. The project was completed as designed. And we are requesting a certificate of compliance to close out the order of conditions. Some additional views here. So this is the upper parking lot area. And the second request we'll go into is the historic fuel system installation, which is off to the east here, but this is the extent of the new paving around the headquarters. Again, no changes to impervious area, just paving, replacing pavement as it was in kind of the same extent as previous limits, and then the spray pond again closer to Proctor Brook. We did have additional drainage swale installed, a stilling basin with riprap. And this was to improve the usability of this parking lot, which had mossed over. And I can stop sharing or continue if there's some details too of what was done. And yeah, we've submitted just to the Conservation Commission as part of this request the as-built plans, a letter from Weston Sampson as the project engineer. This is sort of the most recent project that we were going to present this evening. This is the riprap apron.
Did you stop sharing?
I did, yeah. If there's anything on the plans that you questions on, I can certainly pull those back up.
Like the only question I had on the plan was the area where you show riprap going into, what was it? North River? No.
This Proctor Brook. Yeah, I'll share again.
Proctor
So
Brook.
this is
Okay.
the western parking lot area that
Right.
there's a slope that goes up to a storage area, and we adjusted some of the slopes and created a vegetated swale that goes into this riprap apron. So any of the stormwater that comes off the parking lot before it enters Proctor Brook flows through this riprap apron before going into the bank. So we are in the riverfront area in this lower area.
Where is the brook?
So the top of, and we want to sort of grade out, but so from the riprap apron, and then there's a fence.
Oh, right there. Okay.
Yeah, the top of bank is right there.
I couldn't read it because it was so light.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going down to the brook. Okay. Is it clean?
Through the chair, this was helpful. I appreciate you putting this up. Thank you. I did just look on the OneDrive, and there was not an as-built submitted, but there is a letter from the engineer. Let me say his name for the record. You guys probably know it faster than I do, though. Brian McCormick. He wrote.
Yeah.
Was constructed in compliance with plans provided and approved in the order of conditions. And then really the only special condition that you guys gave them was that the operation and maintenance plan is in perpetuity and that the maintenance logs shall be submitted annually on 10/31 once the stormwater system is online and functioning. So this was dated, I will say this is dated, it was issued. The order of conditions was issued in October 2022, and I did have to ask for the maintenance reports, but it looks like someone is keeping maintenance logs. Those are on your, it looks like someone did it in 2023, 2 of them, and one this year in 2024. So I would suggest if you guys are going to issue a full certificate that you would add that the O&M is in perpetuity.
Okay. I don't see anybody in the public raising their hand on this one.
Through the chair, Lucia, doesn't it say in the order that the O&M was in perpetuity?
Yes, but as a rule of thumb, you always want to add it in the certificate of compliance for potential, not that this is ever going to get sold to potential future buyers, but you always want to add it. There's a section on the certificate of compliance that says ongoing conditions, and it's just sort of like a reminder to them. Because they might not, I mean, I'm assuming they've been doing the reports, but they just haven't been submitting them to me. So now they are definitely aware that they really need to start submitting these every year, like without me having asked for them.
Okay.
Yes, that's my responsibility, and that will be done every year. October 31st. We take it very seriously, and we definitely inspect and clean any debris, any trash, anything like that, and make sure they're in good, healthy status.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of compliance.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll just add the issue about issuing
Yeah, the O&M plan is in
O&M every-
perpetuity.
Yes.
submitted annually on 10/31 should be part of this.
All right, got it. That motion was made by Mr. Vivaldi, seconded by Mr. Rizzo. Roll call, Chairman Lazaris.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athis.
Arthur.
Fine. Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Comat.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, that passes 8-0.
Okay, item 5. Request a full certificate of compliance is made by Karen Rapucci, PMLP, on DEP file number 55855. Project was the construction of a fueling system and site drainage improvements. Address is known as 201 Warren Street Extension, map 63, lot 95, Peabody, Mass. Order of conditions expired 6/21. I don't know, is that right? 21? First meeting date was today. Is that correct, Lucia? That
Yep, it expired a couple of years ago. That is correct.
okay, all right. Just verifying. You did not get out there for a site visit, I assume?
I did not, but Karen submitted a lot of pictures and they should be on the OneDrive, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm happy to provide a similar sort of summary. It actually overlaps and it abuts the area that the previous project was part of, so I can share the plans if helpful. So I guess if we look back at the plans for that previous order of conditions, which included the pavement all around the headquarters structure, the area that was previously paved, sort of the first project that we had supported PMLP with, is a fuel system replacement. So this is an older order of conditions that we were requesting a certificate of compliance. So that project also included repaving, putting in trench drains, putting in a new fuel system, which is an above ground storage tank, replacing an underground storage tank that was located in a concrete bunker. So that system has been operating. We did keep the permit open because we had added, through a modification to the order of conditions, some maintenance work on a drainage swale in 2019. Those tasks have been all completed, so we have issued, and this is a smaller part of the site, just an as-built of that area. Again, a letter from the stamping engineer. And this is not near the brook. This is up by the headquarters, so it's within that former bedrock quarry, but there are jurisdictional wetlands within that area, some which are isolated. So yeah, I can take any questions or on that project. We have some section views as well of the actual fuel system, and this is.
what is the fuel that is it gas or higher?
Gas and diesel. Yeah, it's
It is
a
diesel.
split system for all of the electrical or the trucks that PMLP uses to maintain their network.
Are they, and this is a different question because it's not, obviously this is designed for oil or, diesel or gas products. Would this site also be used at some point for electric charging stations, or you've got it in some other area?
We have electric chargers in our garage,
Okay.
so they are inside at this moment. They're not near the fuel station, which is I'm not sure what direction it is, but it's on the far side of the lot.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Where are the tanks?
Yep. So the tanks are as part of the project, we constructed a concrete pad and there is a canopy actually for weather protection. So they're again above ground tanks. All of the piping is above grade. So the dispensers are basically off the tanks in this area.
How big are the tanks?
Where are the tanks? How big a tank is that? You said you got split tanks?
They are split tanks.
I believe they're 2,500 gallons each. One for regular gas and one for diesel.
Okay, I just don't see the tanks. I just and you have a containment system there?
There's a monitoring system. There's alarms. PMLP has a 24-hour security in this area because it's up again by their headquarters. So there's security cameras and full-time personnel monitoring.
But that's for somebody stealing a gas or oil. What about a
No,
leak?
don't you need a containment area in case the tank broke? It would be contained within the footprint?
No, because there's actually driving. So this is pretty typical of what we've designed at like DPW facilities and other fueling systems for municipalities. So there's actually, because this is a concrete pad that's flush with the asphalt, you just drive onto it. I believe they're double walled tanks. I'd have to double check, but there is.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are
containment
double walled tanks. And we get them inspected annually from a third party. It's part of our insurance requirements is to have them inspected on an annual basis.
If a truck hits one of those tanks, is it possible, A, for a truck to hit the tank, and B, if it does and punctures the double wall and the product leaks out, what happens to the product?
Correct. So we have bollards. Actually, these they're a little hard to see on this plan view, but there's bollards surrounding the entire tank from
To
front
try and
and
stop
back
the
and
truck.
sides to prevent any impacts from vehicle strikes. Yeah, like larger tank systems would have secondary containment. This is an active system, so the above ground system doesn't have secondary containment.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, Stuart. It's a very secure, it's a very safe system up there. And those tanks, I obviously, Darren's, I mean, I'm aware of the tanks, and they're actually a double wall. They're concrete. In between, you'd have to hit that with a.
Okay.
I can't imagine what you'd have to hit it with to have them leak.
The only other question I have is, where is how do you fill these? A big tank truck comes up and puts their hose in someplace and starts pumping gas.
Yes, fuel deliveries, and it is preferred. Like I'm a licensed professional, so I deal with petroleum releases pretty regularly. So it is preferred to have an above ground system, and all the hosing is above grade. So any of the drivers who are doing deliveries can see if there's a release. But yeah, certainly it's all there's hoses and piping, and also emergency systems if there's like a small spill to do immediate cleanup. So it's just filled directly on site, and then the dispensers again for the individual vehicles coming up to the system to fuel, just like a gas station, or just they have dispensers and all the fuel is being tracked with a fuel inventory system.
Okay, thanks.
Darren, can you zoom out or show me where this sits in relation to the rest of the property?
Sure. So this is the far eastern corner of the parcel. So this is if you're at the headquarters, and actually the other plan's a little clearer. So if you're coming up the driveway to the PMLP headquarters, the main lobby where the public.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Yep.
Okay, so then if you keep going towards the back, the fuel system project is sort of tucked in the back with employee parking.
Oh, so it's way over there in the gray area?
Yeah.
Yep. On this plan, it's in the gray portion.
Okay. So it's really in the corner of the lot. It'd be, yeah. And that's actually parking, or is it? It looks like a detention basin for some reason.
So this is because it's in a former quarry. These are actually
the rock wall, the steep walls.
Yep, slope. This isn't actually the quarry wall. This is a infill of soil to have a slope. So we are away from any of the rock falls and the actual quarry walls, which are we wouldn't put a fuel system directly in proximity to those rock walls. But yeah, these are actually coming up the contours up the slope to meet the bedrock sort of cliff face.
Okay, thank you for, I'd like to, just didn't understand where
Sure.
in relation to the other part of the property.
Through the chair, one more question. On the as-built plan, you haven't read a revision number, revision 3, is that what that's referring to? And what does that represent?
This is fairly aged. I believe version 3 is so. We have an as-built from the contractor. So when the contractor who actually built, so Weston Sampson is the design engineer, and then we had the contractor have a surveyor come on site. So I believe version 3 is we had comments on their the actual spot elevations, and actually they had to do some repairs to the paving too. So I think this revision actually, which I do recall, is that there was ponding on the asphalt in this area, so that was an icing concern. So they had to come back and repave this area and then resurvey it for the as-built. So that is revision 3, is a resurveying of those points.
So the work has been done.
Yeah, this is as of January, I believe, 2019. And then we kept the order of conditions open because there was drainage swale work. And then as the previous presentation was on the pavement replacement kind of elsewhere in the site.
The question I have is on snow storage. You hear that someplace on your map, on your plan.
Yeah, so these are when the as-built was collected, and this is a slope area. So the surveyors, this is pretty typical, and we had this issue actually when our survey team was on site too. Because this was done in January, there was snow on the ground, so they can't pick up. Like there's a berm here, there's grades. So because they couldn't pick it up, they listed those areas as snow piles, but it's actually just snow that's coming up and covering this slope that goes up. But there are, I guess one of the conditions was to have signage to say no snow storage, because we have 2 trench drains that go into the resource areas, and PMLP so their Jersey barriers blocking any snow storage at this area, and the PMLP is not storing snow in this other area, but at the time of the survey there was snow on the ground in that area, so they couldn't pick up these features, so they listed snow pile, and then that got carried because it was part of the project as built.
Okay. I think we need a sign saying the conservation area is sensitive, no dumping, no snow storage, or something, so everybody's aware of it.
It's in the pictures. There is a sign. I don't see it on the plan.
There is a sign, yeah, there is a sign that PMLP has in this area to ensure that the plows are not putting snow on this slope.
We also put Jersey barriers reaching all the way from the driveway to the guardrail to ensure no snow would be brought into that location.
So the as-built doesn't show the signs, though. The signs are out there.
Yeah, the surveyor didn't pick up the small signs, that's correct. Yeah, they're not on here.
But we sent a picture, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, through the chair, I think the sign was just installed within like a week. Correct?
Okay.
So during construction, the contractor had a sign in this area.
Yeah, we're not talking about the temporary. I believe Karen sent me a picture showing a new sign that was just installed. That's the way I read it. I might have read it quickly though. Karen, can you? There was a new sign installed within like the last week or so.
Yes, we were made aware that a permanent sign needed to be put in. So we definitely want to make sure we do that. As I said previously, the Jersey barriers were there, and so a snowplow could not dump any snow in that area. But we wanted to comply and follow the order of conditions. So the sign is there now, and it will be there in the future.
So could you add that, could you add the sign to the plan? Show where it is?
Yeah, we could put a leader to the location.
If you also are upgrading this plan, do you want to remove the snow pile indicators so it doesn't look like you can pile snow there?
Yes, that would be something to update, sure.
Okay. I see nobody's hand raised in the public, so looking for a motion for a full certificate of compliance.
Make a motion to issue a full certificate of compliance.
Can I
for-
interrupt for a quick second?
Go
Shouldn't they
ahead.
request to have the order of conditions, I guess, continued, or it doesn't need to be because that's what the commission, this certificate of compliance will close the order of conditions. It's an expired order of conditions, so shouldn't they, we're voting to approve a certificate of compliance on an expired order of conditions?
Through the chair, yes, we do that all the time. Unfortunately, we've done like 30-year-old expired. This it actually when I was looking at this, it says it expired in 2021, but during the pandemic there actually was a 2-year tolling period. So it actually expired in 2023, I believe. They got like I'm pretty sure they got like 2 years. So this isn't that expired, and we've definitely. I mean, they need to close it out. They have to. It doesn't matter if it's expired. You don't have to approve it, but in order for them to clear their title, they have to, even if it's 40 years expired.
Through the chair,
Go ahead, Bruce.
the I I only know this because I'm working on another project personally. Um, the governor just extended that second for another 2 years. I believe last Friday.
Yeah, but this one, it had to be within January 2024 to January 2025. So it doesn't fall on that anyway.
23.
But it doesn't matter if it's expired because people need to request certificates of compliance. Like I even like write to people and tell them they need to request them when they're expired.
Okay.
That's why we've raised the fees. It's like I think it's like 150 if it's over 10 years old, like 300 if it's over like 20 years old. I can't remember the fees off my top of my head, but that's why we raised the fees was because you guys were sick of people coming in with like incredibly expired. This is like barely expired in my opinion.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, so the motion is to issue a full certificate of compliance with showing the new sign or no snow storage. Just show where that is on the plan with a little sign symbol, and you could actually put the text in there if you want, which would be good to have. And remove the notes regarding snow storage, snow piles at the swales, and then that rev circle. Maybe you just want to take that out, or is that?
We can remove that.
Revision 3.
Yeah, it's or it can stay. I don't really care. As long as the plan shows the no storage, snow storage on the plan, so they know where it is in case it ever got knocked down. We'd know it's still on the plan.
Second that.
All right. So I have a motion made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Mr. Author. It's Mr. Author, Mr. Athis. It sounds like it is contingent on a revised as-built plan showing the installed sign and removing the snow stockpiles as shown. Did you guys want to add that the sign shall remain in perpetuity?
Yes.
And I don't know if there was a there was an operation and maintenance plan with this one. If there was, it should also be in perpetuity. And we might want to also think about like what we talked about with Christian Books having a Frankenstein O&M at a later date to encompass all of the O&M plans.
Do we have to come up with new orders of conditions because they expired?
No, no. This is a certificate, I have a motion for a full certificate of compliance to be held contingent upon an as-built plan being revised, adding conditions in perpetuity. You always want to, if you actually want them to do the conditions that you put in perpetuity in the order, you have to also list them on, there's a section on the certificate of compliance and it says ongoing conditions, and that is where you would put the signs shall remain in perpetuity and the O&M is in perpetuity.
Oh, there it is.
Can I just flag the checklist that we're doing? So these are across the headquarters. So for the other order of conditions, which is in perpetuity, PMLP is going to be preparing those checklists, which includes the fuel system. So we didn't want to have two separate O&M plans. So there's one comprehensive O&M plan. So the checklists are tied to the previous order of conditions. And that is in perpetuity, as Karen mentioned. PMLP will be providing those every October, which includes the fuel system and the spray pond.
Perfect. So you don't have a problem though, like if we write O&M in perpetuity, it's the O&M that you guys are already using. It's the master PMLP, correct?
I guess it's saying the same thing that's in another plan, but yeah, there's the O&M plan in perpetuity is already covered, but if it's up to the commission on adding it to this one. But the fuel system is covered. There's going to be annual inspections from that other condition.
Well, I mean, this is a separate from 55916. This is 55855, and it does say that you guys have drainage improvements. So I'm assuming with the site drainage improvements came some operation and maintenance plan, correct?
No, it's all tied because it's all the same parking lot. So all of these trench drains, all of the drainage improvements are.
Yep, but you would have submitted with that NOI an O&M plan that we would have cited, I'm assuming, because I don't think we would have ever approved something without an operation and maintenance plan. So, I mean, if you have a master one, that's fine. It's just gonna, I mean, I'm
Sure.
assuming the commission wants all of the stormwater structures maintained, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna keep that, and you guys keep with the master O&M plan. I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call unless anyone wants to add anything or remove anything. All right, so that motion was made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Mr. Athos. Roll call, Chairman Lazares.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, so that passes 8-0.
Thank you very much. Have a great holiday.
Thank you too.
Happy holidays.
Have a good holiday.
Item enforcement orders and violation orders. Item 6. Continued enforcement order issued to Salem Country Club for the following activities: removing of living trees, grinding, grubbing stumps in buffer zone in close proximity to jurisdictional resource areas, depositing wood chips in buffer zones and along local riverfront woods. Property address is known as 133 Forest Street, Peabody, Mass. We started talking about this in April 13 of 2022. This item has been continued to January 8th already, so there's no motion necessary. We'll see the country club in January. Just as a side, they have submitted new plans as of November 30, showing, all the stuff we're asking them for. So we'll be able to review that with our consultant in the coming weeks and be able to review it with the country club in January. Going on to item 7, enforcement order issued to MK Peabody Investments LLC, Michael May, resident agent for the following activities: alteration of FEMA flood plan BLSF without a permit from Mass DEP and the Peabody Concom. The property is known as 2 Central Street, map 85, lot 59, Peabody, Mass. First meeting date was 12/11. They should be submitting an NOI for a January meeting. Is that correct still?
They are here. I promoted
Bob
Attorney
Lavoie.
Kelty and Attorney Lavoie. They were
Okay.
supposed to, according to the enforcement order, they were supposed to submit it on Monday, and I did not receive it. So that's something to discuss tonight with you guys. Maybe they don't think they need. Maybe I don't know. So that would be up to you to discuss with them.
So is Dave Cowell here this evening? This is Jack Kelty.
Dave's here. His hand is raised. He's in the audience someplace.
Yep. He's muted. There.
He is a panelist. It takes a little bit of time.
That's right. Hello, guys. Yep, thank you. I rose my hand and I was just promoted to panelist. Yeah, I can provide update. So since the violation was issued, we've since coordinated with a civil engineer in the design architect for the building itself. We have made progress, and we are happy to report that with what we believe to be some minor modifications of the architectural design of the building, that we can meet the volumetric bordering land subject to flooding compensatory flood storage for the work that we're doing there. Yes, we do have a notice of intent that is forthcoming. Regretfully, we weren't able to make the Monday deadline. It took a little bit of time to work with the civil engineer in the design architect to come up with a resolution to this. However, I anticipate that we'll have a notice of intent into you with a site plan for an after the fact notice of intent in time to be on your January hearing. And that's it. We were just here tonight to provide the update of progress that we've made.
David, you said in time for the January hearing?
Or no, yesterday, I'm sorry, was the deadline 2 days ago was the January hearing.
Right.
Yep. Thank you for correcting me, John.
I mean, through the chair, when do you think you can, when do you think you can get it to me? Like, I just need to, I need to run a legal ad, butters need to be notified, and the problem is we're getting into the holidays. So
Right.
that's, yeah, so, do you have a date? Because I might be able to work with you.
We're about a week out. I anticipate that we can get you a notice of intent submittal by, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We need a few days to pull it together.
All right. This is up to the board. I can definitely run a legal ad if you give me the cover of the NOI, and then I don't normally allow fragmenting filings, but I think this is important, so that the property owners aren't left until February if this is something we could possibly work on in January. So I can I can let the attorneys think about it, and then they can get back to me in the morning tomorrow and let me know if I should go ahead with that legal ad. And then worst case scenario, the legal ad ran, and it, at least that's notice. We can put it on the agenda, and then we can just continue it to February.
Perfect. Outstanding. That's actually appreciated. I'd say by tomorrow I can at least get you a WPA Form 3 that will have all of the pertinent information that you need to run the legal ad. And then we would just need a few additional days to pull together the content of the notice of intent, including the revised site plans. So we can certainly hustle on this.
So do I have a request to continue this to January?
Yep. There's no continuance. This is just a discussion topic, providing update on a enforcement order. So there's no need to vote tonight or formal continuance of the hearing. This isn't a hearing.
Can you remind me can you elaborate what was happening that caused the enforcement order?
Yep.
We are in a floodway, and as such, there was no issuance of an order of conditions for any work activity.
What was the activity that's happening on the property?
That's right.
Go ahead, David.
Go ahead, John. I hate to interrupt. No.
Go.
Our applicant received a building permit to construct their The project is actually, believe it was an old bank that they're converting into a
Oh, right.
restaurant.
Right, I remember now.
So they initiated construction and an enforcement order once it was recognized that they were working in a 100-year floodplain coincident with bordering land subject to flooding. There was an enforcement and a cease work order issued until we were able to resolve whether or not we comply with bordering land subject to flooding standards.
Okay. Thank you for your description.
Yep, you're welcome, Michael.
Through the chair, is this the old Century Bank building?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's behind it, I think.
No, it is the Century Bank building.
It is,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
All I saw was large holes in the ground behind it.
So, David, if you could get that WPA Form 3 over to Lucia tomorrow, then
Yep.
that'd be great.
Let's do that. That'll be the plan. We'll get the WPA Form 3 tomorrow, followed within a few days. I don't know that we'll have it by Friday, but early next week, we should have the remainder of the submittal.
And you've stopped work for the meantime.
Yes.
Yes, we have a cease and desist from exterior work, and then the enforcement order also provides for certain certain outdoor work in order to make the project safe. In other words, any holes that have been dug to become the foundations and footings need to be made safe.
Yes. Well, we look forward to your information in January.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
All right. Good night now.
Good night.
Moving on to item 8.
Yep, I believe we have always continued our enforcement order, so I would just suggest, because this is what I've been doing since 2006, is you guys always continue them.
Okay.
Move
We'll
to
make a
continue.
motion to continue the enforcement order.
Move to continue.
To January meeting in 2025.
Yeah, which hopefully we have an NOI, and then you will, at that meeting you'll be withdrawing this. So that motion was made by Mr. Athis. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Athis, second by Ms. Green. Roll call. Chairman Lazaris.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athis.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Hara.
Yes.
All right, so that passes 8-0. And on the next item, Stu,
Thank
if
you.
you want to read it, I will. I have a little bit of an update for that.
Item 8.
Yes.
Continued violation order issued to Joseph and Donna Vieira, property address of 154 Goodale Street, map 25, lot 64. The alleged work involves one alleged possible alteration to buffer zone of intermittent stream and buffer zone to the BVW, adding truckloads of fill to change the grade, performing grading alterations and stockpiling various items such as construction debris, gravel piles, concrete blocks, ladders, wood, tarps, trash barrels, sawhorse, and a storage container. The deadline for plot plan showing buffer zones and all activities was due November 13. Who's here to talk about that?
Yep. He came in yesterday. He did have a plan. He only had one. He's a nervous wreck. He has altered the buffer zone. It's a little bit more than I thought. I thought it was going to be a very small portion, so I was really wrong with my guesstimating. So he is going to file. You guys can, he's going to file an RDA. It is buffer zone. You don't have to accept it if you want to allow him to file the RDA. I warned him that, listen, you can file this RDA and the commission can deny it and issue an enforcement order that night. there's a whole side story to it. He has some. I mean, he
You
basically
went
has to make.
silent.
What?
All of a sudden you went silent.
No, did I go
Go ahead.
silent to everyone?
No,
Because I thought I
No,
saw
I heard
you definitely freeze, so I think maybe your computer froze. Like
It
basically, the
was,
long
it's
story
me.
is I don't want to talk too much about it. He definitely altered some buffer zone. Um, I think you guys probably might have approved it. I don't know. That's up to you guys to decide. He is definitely filing an RDA. He's meeting with me next week. Again, he's nervous. He is so nervous about all this. I'm going to help him with the RDA process. The thing is this is not his land, but the property owner does know about it. They're trying to work something out. I don't know if they're going to do like a land swap or a land buy or an easement or something. So the property owner is aware of it. I mean, I guess we wait until we get the RDA and then you guys can look at the violation, the pictures I took, the plans, the RDA, and then you guys can make the determination if he needs to, you know, if you need to issue an enforcement or you need to issue an RDA with conditions or any action items.
Through the
It's
chair.
not terrible. I'll say that honestly, the guy next door, I'm probably gonna have to issue something on him because it sounds like he's been storing like a bunch of commercial trucks in his backyard, and he's real close to the wetlands. um, so I guess I would suggest continuing the violation order in case something happens and he blows me off next week. I don't think he's going to. I mean, if he blows me off next week, I would probably at this point I would just issue an enforcement order with your guys' blessing, because now I know the reason why I was hesitant is because Libby Sabujan at DEP, who's retiring soon, where she's in the enforcement division, she's always said you have to be right. You can't just issue enforcement orders willy-nilly. You have to make sure you're right. So now I know I was right, and now we just need to go from there.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Who owns the land? Which
It
neighbor?
is the little red school.
They own the land?
I think Lake Street School, yes. And Bill Frankenstein, he's fabulous. He's the one who met me, and we went on a site visit on his property because I couldn't get in touch with Mr. Vieira at first. So me and Mr. Frankenstein walked the property, and we were able to view it all from his property because all the work is on his property. Um, so but they've been working together. I think their attorneys are involved. They're working things out. So it's the trespass was something I was really concerned with, but that's obviously out of our jurisdiction. But they're handling it together. As far as I know, there's no legal actions going against him yet. It seems like everything's cordial right now.
So you recommend we continue this?
I would continue it, and then I would say if he blows me off next week, if with your guys' blessing, I would draft an enforcement order and like mandate him to come to. I mean, what bothered me was there's a few trees that are, like their root flares are, like gone. So those trees are gonna die. But I mean, if he came and got a permit, he'd probably be able to remove those trees. So that again, I think that is we got to see this RDA to see what he's actually going to do, and if it's even a full RDA application. I'm not really sure if it's going to be like what we're expecting. Because he showed me an engineered plan. It does show all the wetlands, and it shows, I mean, it shows the extent of where he's altered, but it doesn't show like stockpiles, trailer, like it doesn't show any of that. But the pictures do. So I know there's been a lot of money spent already, like lots of money. He's been spending working with the property owner.
So through the chair, who did the engineered plan?
I believe it was Mr. Frankenstein and Mr. Vieira are I mean, I don't know exactly, but I believe they are splitting the fees because they needed to get their property. They're going to be coming before you guys anyway shortly for a project, I think, and so they needed the the wetlands flagged. So I think it might have been like they both did it because they both needed to get the wetlands flagged. But
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not certain about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know-
What I meant was, is it someone that's known to us, is in front of us all the time?
Oh, no, no, no. It's no, I didn't. It's a definitely it was a proper survey plan on a properly formatted, scaled plan. And I didn't recognize, no.
Okay, thank you.
So we need a motion to continue? Is that what I'm hearing?
I would suggest it.
Yeah. I make a motion to
Okay.
continue item number 8 to our January meeting.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
All right, was that Brian?
Yep, that was me.
All right, great. That motion was made by Mr. Rizzo, seconded by Mr. Cassidy. Roll call. Chairman Lazaris,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, so that is continued.
Alrighty. Minor permit requests. So we're gonna be done before 10 o'clock. Mystic River Contracting.
Oh,
owner-
too soon.
What?
You spoke too soon. You can't
No,
say
I didn't. I didn't speak too soon.
Eh,
Mystic,
25
no.
minutes.
Well,
You blew the no-hitter.
Could be close.
I said 10. It's only 9:16, isn't it? Anyway, minor permit. Mystic River Contracting Inc. Owner is Ken Kaladny's. I can't repeat. I don't
Kaloji.
say Kaladny.
Kaloji.
Kolozny. Okay. For work at 11 Clement Ave, proposed work a second story deck over existing first floor deck. Sonotube work only. Erosion controls be installed for any digging occurs. Work was approved 11/18/24. We need a motion to accept.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion to second?
Second.
All right,
right,
that
Amanda.
motion to approve was made by Mr. Comack, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call. Chairman Lazaris,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo,
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Athos,
Yes.
Commissioner Comack,
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right, so that is passed, and there are no minutes. There's no tree permits.
And we need a motion to adjourn.
It's not 10 o'clock yet.
You don't have to. It's done.
We'll get Stu. We'll
People
just
are-
get you talking on a tangent, and we'll bring you past 10.
Why do you want it to go till 10?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right. That was made by Amanda. It was made by Ms. Harrop, seconded by Ms. Green. Roll call. Chairman Lazaris.
Nah, let's keep going.
We got to rest up. We have a big party tomorrow, guys.
Okay.
Chairman
Get
Lazaris.
plenty of rest.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Rizzo.
Yes.
Secretary Vivaldi.
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Athos.
Yes.
Commissioner Comack.
Yes.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
And Commissioner Harrop.
Yes.
All right. It is 9:18, I believe, and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Hope to see you all tomorrow. And for those who I don't see tomorrow, have a happy New Year and a good holiday.
You
See you in
too.
January.
Good night,
Night.
all.
Bye.
Night.
Amanda, wish you were coming. Sorry.
I
you're
do
missing it.
too. I do
know.
too.
I was bummed when you said you were in Cali, but it was nice to see you and Lindsay, right?